Hi everybody, it's Julie and I'm here with the first video for the June Just 15 Junk Journal Challenge. So we are taking 15 items from our stash as they are bought from the store. So the whole entire item. So if you bought a paper pad, that's one of your 15. I'll put the link to the details video in the description box below. If it looks like something you want to do, then follow and join us in the group, and we'd love to have you. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this was a requested video, is I'm going to take the book that I've chosen for my journal, and it's a garden journal book, and I am going to expand the spine, and at the same time I'm going to show you how I'm going to be able to use this journal in my journal and get wonderful side-by-side pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch my book out. Notice that we have a gap right here. That is, oh my gosh, you want a gap between the spine and the actual book. And because that makes it so much easier. So I think we'll go ahead and try using this X-Acto knife. So I have, you can see the stitching there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold my book open. I'm going to carefully go through that stitching and unstitch. So if you have a seam ripper, you can use a seam ripper for this. You know, maybe you haven't had any reason to use a seam ripper in a long time. But then I'm going to be able to just pull out that section of the journal. And now I have pages that can go into my journal. Okay? So just like that. Now I have side-by-side pages that can go into my journal. And so that is pretty exciting. Now it'll go down to a certain point, and then usually your next page will be glued to the next page. That's okay. I can use these for other things, so I'll just go ahead and pull those out usually. And these will become tags, and some of them may go into things for other journals. When I'm going through this, I will be going, oh, look, we have a fairy. I can save her for the fairy journal. Oh, we have strawberries. Oh, we have such and such. So now I can use this, okay? So these two pages are still together. I might go ahead and washi tape them together, or use some fabric. You can glue fabric there and get your get it turned in so that it's a page. Okay, so we can go through and do that all day long and get all those pages out, but what we really want to do here is move on and get ready to turn this into a journal. Okay, so it is a journal, but I'm turning it into a junk journal. So I am going to take the front of the book board. You see how it ends right here? And I'm going to go ahead and push it over. And sometimes you can actually hear it like crack or go crunch. And that is what I call breaking the book. And then we can go ahead and take our knife and just go ahead and go right down that spot. Now that went so easy, and the reason is because this is not glued to the spine. This is open here, not glued to the spine. So if you were just going to make a replacement really small journal, you can just take your book out just like this like we're doing. And okay, you can hear that. That's actually right here. We've got some book binding that is holding our book to the front. Do you see the book binding there? The skeletal of the book. Okay, so there's my book. Okay, we've taken it out. But the thing is this was not attached. It might have been at one point. Cut like tape here. But it was not attached to the spine, making this so much easier. Okay, we're going to save this because, of course, I'm going to come back and I want to use some of those pages in my journal. And so this book counted as one of my items, but I'm going to be able to use it to make my cover. I am going to be able to use it to, I'll be using the book throughout for pages, for tags, and for a variety of other things that we're going to need. So the next thing is, this is definitely not a big enough book for what I want to do. If you were just going to transform it into like an address book or something, it might be big enough. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the spine. Okay, so see this spine right here? We're going to be replacing that. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down. So I've cut right along that hole, and I went out of whack here. So I want to try and keep it straight. Okay, so there's my front cover. Should I choose to use it like it as it is. And then I'm going to come and cut the back cover. And remember, if we just go ahead and go in from each side, we might get a better, straighter. Okay, so that's our back cover. And there's our spine. And you can use your spine for a variety of things if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and save mine. I saved the spines. Someday I might do something wonderful with them. So I have my front and I have my back, and I'm gonna, for right now, I'm gonna set those aside. Okay, so we're gonna need a new replacement spine. So one of the things that one of the things that I will use sometimes for chipboard is the back of a note paper. Okay, this is usually a really good piece of cardboard. So you might find that there. What I'm using today, I have 2 pieces already cut out, and these were cut from a Tim Holtz book. It's a really good cardboard also, and I want to use it because I'm trying to use up things that are already here. So if you are building the spine on your book, your board that you're using, whether it comes from a notepad or from a paper pad or something, this is a free item. Okay, so what you're building your spine and you're binding with is a free item. Okay, it doesn't have to count as one of your 15. I don't have to go and count this wallflower book as one of my 15. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and the next thing that we'll be doing is we'll measure these. Okay, and one of them was a little bit smaller than the other. Yeah, the blue one is smaller. So let's measure the blue one, see how big it is, and that's what size my spine is going to be. So it's at the mark just after 2.5 inches. So we're going to go ahead and put the brown one in here. And I want them both to be the same. I mean, it's not brain surgery. It's going to be okay if they're a little bit different. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's cut that. Okay, so that is cut and ready. So now we're going to want to measure those. And you saw on this particular book, your spine is the same size as the outsides of your book. So if you're not sure, you can go ahead and look at the book that you're taking apart to get an idea of how your spine should be. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have it line up at the bottom. We'll line it up at the top and we're going to cut it. Okay? Line up at the bottom, line up at the top, and cut. Okay? So I'll put one of them on here and cut it. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, and we should be able to pop that right off, and we did. Okay, so I have my two pieces. Now, depending on what I'm putting on the spine, I may want to put my ends together. And so if I was just using this canvas, it's like a canvas fabric. If I was just using that, I might want to use the white sides. I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to use the white sides just because then I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to be using up the bottoms of my Mono Tombow liquid glue. So the bottom of this glue has a broad tip, and this is how I can use up my glue down to the very end. So I'll usually have a pile of glue bottles that are just about done, waiting to be, I use them for when I need to glue a lot. So this is perfect. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and sandwich those together. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and clip them to help them have the hold. And then these two together should give me a good binding for my book. If you think, like if you're using a cereal box, 2 is good, 3 is better. Okay, just so you know, 2 is good, 3 is better. See what size my spine is. Now I've been doing bigger ones, but I think that this one's going to be okay because for this challenge we only have 15 elements that have to go in there. So we are 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eighths. 1 and 5/8 is the spine size that I'm using, and that's primarily because I had these already ready, and you know, that's okay. Sometimes we just gotta use some of this stuff that's hanging out, leftover. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside and let it dry, and we're gonna go ahead and work on the binding, getting the other things that I want ready. So I looked at this, and this, especially because this is glossy, I don't think that is enough to hold the book together. So I am going to bring in my fabric that I have chosen to use. And look, it's a garden fabric. I love it. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring that in as my part of my binding. And I'm just going to cut a piece. There was a piece here that I'm like, I'm going to cut that off, and then I don't have to deal with such a big piece of fabric. Okay, so so what I'm thinking is, now this is where I just ripped it. Okay, so I have this nice soft frayed edge, which I actually like. When I'm using fabric on my junk journals, I do like the frayed edge. Okay, so, okay, but there is a light piece here. Okay, so even though this is working on drawing, we're going to bring it over here. You'll notice that I have a little bit, like a 1/4 of an inch, an 1/8 to a 1/4 of an inch gap between the front and the back. And part of that is because of the paper clips, but it's naturally what I need to have there so that my book will open and close freely. I am going to go ahead and cut and tear this other side. Okay, so I'm thinking I need to go over about a 1/4 of an inch. I don't want to go any further than that right there, I don't think. Okay, and then this is going to sit on here like this. Okay, because I don't like just the black, but I think the white edge and then with the black edge is going to be good. So I'm going to come up here and okay, so again, fray the edge, fray it on purpose, so okay, and save my other piece. Okay, so you see how much we've got going on both sides. And then we'll have, this will be able to go, but you see that this would not have met edge to edge. Okay. Okay, so how are we doing here? Okay, now we can go ahead and figure out what we're gonna, that's what I'm gonna do for the outside. Now for the inside, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to need another piece, and I think I'm going to go with just the black. So just a piece from the black. This is for my outside. Come over here and see if I can grab another piece. Okay, so I need a piece for the inside. And this time I'm going to take it and I just need to come on both sides. I like to come in about 3/4 of an inch if I can. The other thing about ripping fabric is usually it's going to rip along the same spot. So you're going to get a good straight line. Okay? There we go. So that is going to be the inside piece that I'm going to use. Okay. And then I have my paper that I'm going to be putting on top. I'm sorry. And I'm going to want this to come all the way just inside my edge here. And so one side needs to cut there, And I don't just go, oh, and I need 2 of those. I actually do 2 separate measurements for my pieces. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to turn it over, and this is going to go on the front. Okay, so that's the piece I cut for the front. And then we have our marking for the back. We'll save this because this can become washi tape. And this is going to be the back. And then we need to measure top to bottom. And I want to make sure that I cover my paper. And I have my front and my back pieces are cut. This is for the inside. And I can go ahead and keep that all together. Okay, so that's kept together. And let's see how we're doing here. We are okay, feels good. Okay, so we can go ahead and we can start. And you can start with the inside or the outside. It's totally up to you. I think we'll start with the outside because it's a little... I don't know that it's more complicated, but okay. So we are going to go ahead and for this journal, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fray my top edge. If you want to get that soft fray, you have to go ahead and rip it, okay? Otherwise, it's going to be that cut edge fray. It's totally different if you cut it or if you rip it. You get a totally different frayed edge. Okay, you do want to clean up your fray, so go ahead and pull out your frayed pieces. And again, this is my preference. But fabric, you know, you can tell they use fabric to bind books, and it works really well. Okay, so now I'm going to come down and I'm going to figure out where the bottom edge of my book is, and I'm going to cut just a little bit below that and rip that and then fray that bottom as well. And those frayed edges are going to make it so that I don't have to fold the fabric under or anything. Now when you're looking at your fabric, if you see something on it that definitely is looking more like it is in one direction or the other, you know, just kind of figure that out before you start gluing it. Okay, so we are going to want to make sure that we're staying away from this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some glue down here in the bottom. I'm going to start adding my glue to the spine here. Now, if I was just putting white on here, I'd be really worried about those pieces of thread that have landed on this white spine. But we are putting the black fabric, so I'm okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our cover. We're going to put glue down all the way to that edge that I was talking about and into this edge. Okay, so we've got our glue. Got our glue. I'm even going to pick this up and get the glue onto this fabric down here. Okay, so you see we have a really healthy batch of glue. And hold it at an angle if you need to make sure. Okay, now I do see a place that we're missing. If you're using fabric tack, you're going to have to do this much faster. You have to work much faster than I'm working right here. Okay, so I'm going to come and I'm going to go ahead and add that right down that edge. And tap it onto the spine that we added. Now you could even draw a line if you're really worried about where it's going. You want to make sure that this is lined up. Check our book to our spine here. Make sure that this is closed, and we'll use this. But I usually use the top of a pen to get my gutter here. Okay, now we'll go ahead and check this side. And we need to add our glue on this side. So this is one of my favorite things about this glue, is that I do get to use, I mean, just about every last drop because of being able to use this bottom part. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we're lined up at the bottom and the top and that we're even. And then I'm going to lay my fabric down. Then I can come in if it looks like I need some more glue, and I'm going to put my glue right on my fabric. It comes out of the center of this. So I've put glue on my fabric. And then I'll just put it down. Okay, now we're going to find that spot. Make sure we have a gutter and a gutter, and you can see we're bubbling a little bit here. And you might actually want to hold it. If you have something heavy, you might want to put it right there so that you can go on and do something else for a while. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. And then I'm going to come back and add the white piece to it. And again, I would do the cover first because right now the inside piece, it would be sitting in possibly having some glue on it, and that would, that would not be good. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm here to check on it. It's been about 10 minutes, still very, very wet. I just want to make sure that we're not sticking to the table. And we're good there. And I want to give the gutter another run. Gutters. Okay. And I'll go ahead and put that back down. Let's go ahead and check the gutter. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so we are still damp, but I think we can go ahead, we're straight, so we can go ahead and add our white canvas fabric. And let's see, we're going to go ahead and rip that also. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And this is going to go, it's just barely going to go over the edges. Okay. Go ahead and start by putting glue on the edge, in the gutter, on the edge, in the gutter, and then across the... See how much glue we've been able to get out of this one? And I mean, it was so slow getting it to come out to the other side. But it's not going to get wasted. Okay. So here, we'll go ahead and make sure this is cleared off. Fray our edges. Okay. And of course, the front is more important than the back. Okay, now I'm going to lay this into the glue. Laying that fray into the glue. Okay, back to the drawing the gutter. And you can have this perfectly straight if that bothers you. I want to see some of that white on the front. Okay, it's not as important to me to see it on the back, but I do want to see it on the front. And your wrinkles, you might be able to get them out just by moving them back and forth. Okay. Make sure your pen is in when you're doing this, if you're using your pen. Okay, one more. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let this dry for a little bit. And it probably is sticking because we added more glue. I'm just balling up the glue, okay, that might have touched down in there. Put it back and lay it down. And we'll let this dry a little bit and I'll be back. Okay, we're back and looks like we're still damp, but we need to go ahead and work on the inside. Oh, looks like we're a little big on this side, but that's okay. We'll be fine. Okay, so we have our inside pages here. We're going to put those right up here. We're going to go ahead and add our fabric to the inside. This is going to help with the strength of our journal. Okay, so, and of course, if you've written a book or something and you want to go ahead and bind it, you could use this for any kind of special thing that you want to bind. Okay, I am trimming the edges, the top and the bottom, to fit with the top and the bottom of what we already have. I'm saving all my scraps up there because I will be making a tassel, and I will want to add those fabric pieces to other things that we'll be doing in this journal. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add our glue. We can go ahead and put it in the center first. I am going to put some down in the gutter, both sides, so our gutters can glue together, hopefully. Okay, and then we're going to come over and put glue on both sides of this. Now we are gonna we're gonna be putting our sides directly on top of this wet. I normally wouldn't do that, but I'm gonna do that because otherwise this video is not gonna be ready for you to be watching it at the premiere. So, and right now I have a lot of other things going on, and I need to utilize all of my time very wisely. It's amazing that, you know, you're home and you have to, it's like, I've got so much to do. And I know all of you, I can't even imagine right now if I had to punch a time clock. Well, obviously I wouldn't be doing all this as, you know, as much. That's for sure. But I'm my warehouse, my container, I'm calling it my warehouse. The Dear Julie warehouse is being delivered, it looks like Wednesday. So I have to be starting to think about what is going there, because I know my husband will be like, ready. Okay, so now we could have gone ahead and this could go on top of your papers that are going on the inside. Let's see how we look on the outside. We look really good. Make sure that there's no glue. This glue does ball up really, really well if you catch it while it is wet. Okay, so there's that. Now remember, we marked our top and our bottom. Now you could go ahead and you know what? I think I want to add some pockets to this, so I am going to show you what I'm going to do. These are going to go and they'll get glued on here, but I'm going to go ahead and sew some pockets. I like to sew my pockets on, or else use the fold, like if I'd have just made one pocket for each side. So just know that those are going on, and that's what's going to be next. And but there is my cover And I will, after this is dry, I'll go ahead and work with the top and the bottom to straighten them out, make sure that I really like the way they are. I will continue, because this is still wet, to make sure that the fray is down in the glue. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I will set this up to dry like this. I will continue to come in and check on it and make sure that my gutters have a gutter. But you see, by having the gutter, they are able to close. Actually, right now, I think I'm going to go ahead and let it dry, continue to dry like this, and because I did saturate that pretty good right there this time. I don't worry about that as much when that white piece fits all the way across, but it doesn't fit across this time. So there. So if you're here for the premiere, I'm waving and I'm saying hi, and I want to say hello and welcome. If you are brand new to the Dear Julie channel, I am Julie, and I'm the CEO and Queen Creator here at Dear Julie and also Dear Julie DIY here on YouTube. And I post a crafty video every day at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, and we use the premiere format so that I'm able to pre-record the video, and then I'm able to be in the chat to answer questions, especially as we're doing the challenges. So if you're not familiar with that, I do a challenge each month. And we just started the June challenge. I'll put the details video in the description box down below. This is the first video for that, and I extended my spine. So I'm pretty excited about that. Make sure if you're here during the premiere that you say hello in the chat so that we can welcome you. We like to see your progress on what you're doing, the great ideas that you come up with, questions that you have, all of that, and we can answer those in the either the Scrap All About It with Dear Julie Facebook group or the Facebook group that is for the June challenge. But do come and say hi in the chat. Find something to celebrate every day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so YouTube can tell you when the new videos come up. And oh yeah, and we're still doing the beginner series every weekday at 4 o'clock, and we're working in our Reader's Digest, and we'll be starting the Golden Book part of the beginner series very, very soon. Have an amazing day. Thanks for being here. Bye. Bye-bye.